Hello, good evening. Welcome to more writing Haskell. Um, I stupidly upgraded OBS just before this stream, and it looks like it's okay. It's had a couple of issues, but hopefully it's all working again. If it's not, can you let me know in the chat? But hopefully things are just fine. So that didn't go very well, and I also broke my whiskey glass. I smashed the corner of it. And I managed to save the whiskey, but I have a feeling that I'm currently drinking shards of glass, which is maybe not so good. So if I kill over in the middle of this, if you could phone an ambulance, that would be great. But assuming that we get through this, we can go back to writing some fun Haskell. So I've been working on Haskell Servant, trying to write a web application because I want to learn how to write something a bit different in Haskell. And I'm just seeing more glass on the table. It's far away though, we should be fine. Yeah, so I have a basic app set up and running. It lets me create environments and then bookings on those environments. I can show you here. I just started running. I've created a couple of test environments and I can go and query them and I get back environment names. I can get back bookings. The thing I want to do today is to link these bookings to the environments. So you would book some time on the test environment or on the staging environment. The data itself for this is still just stored in memory in the server. So when I restart the server, it gets reset. I will look at moving into Postgres, not this week, maybe next week. We'll see how it goes. But today I want to just keep it in memory and try and set something up so that I can create a booking, but I create it under an environment. Now, when I got to the end of this last week, I wasn't sure how to set up, not set up, but how to have nested routes in Servant. So what I really want to do is, instead of posting to bookings, so to create this thing, I do a post to /bookings. I think what I really should be doing is posting to environments 1 or 0 or whatever, and then into bookings in there. I feel it doesn't work. Yeah, but do minus v. Oops. Do minus v. I'm guessing I'm going to get 404 back. Yep. Yeah, I want to configure my routes so that I can do this. I'm not really sure how to do that. It might actually be really easy or it might not. So let's give it a go. So the route that I'm using, where are my routes? Somewhere down here, should have my routes. Okay, here. So I have these routes set up. I'm not actually sure. I don't like the sort of pluralization in singular thing. I might try and fix that as well. In fact, let's just put it all under the same path. So to do the bookings, what I think I can do, if you have a look at this, so you got a string part, which is just matching literally in the URL, and then capture ID, and then a type. And then it's joined on to the type of this request, the data format, and I guess the data format used for return, and the data that's returned in that response. So I'm wondering if I can just keep using this operator. Oh, didn't highlight very well there. This operator to just keep adding parts onto the URL. So could I do something like this for create, first of all. Can I do something like environments and then do a capture of the environment ID, which is going to be a string, and then bookings. Will that work? Should have checked up an error by now. Okay, so it's upset because my one of these Probably create booking doesn't have the right types now. So create booking. What I wonder, can I go from string to booking to whatever? So we got n by d and that now type checks. So it's promising. It suggests it's going to work. Okay. So there are probably a couple of things we want to do here. One is get the environment back, and then I guess return 404 if it doesn't exist. And then the next thing I want to do is, if it does exist, then to create the booking, which we have here, but I'll want to fill in the environment ID into that. Okay, so here, when we're getting the database back, we're only grabbing the bookings out of it, but I also need to grab environments. Environments are E and bookings are P, but it's not really environments, it's actually the tvar holding environments. Maybe I'll just call it O. I don't really understand these namings. The example I copied, it already had P. Maybe I should look up what they're normally called. Not right now. Okay, so this is where we're creating a new booking. Before that, I want to say, I want to look up the existing environment, and I must be doing that already. Yeah, I'm doing it up here. So actually, I could just grab this code for a second, copy and paste it. That doesn't sound right, but anyway, let's do that. We don't have just I, we have just env ID, environments. Okay, so in this case, if we have nothing, we're going to throw the error. Otherwise, do all this stuff. This is going to get horribly nested. This is our environment. Now we cannot use it, except this is upset. So what's wrong here? I'm reading it from O, not from P. And in my error string, it's not I, but it's N by D. Okay, so that doesn't link the booking to the environment yet, but is it enough to return a 404 if I get, well, first of all, will it routes to here? And secondly, will it return a 404 if the environment doesn't exist? So I'm going to stop this, and unfortunately it's going to destroy all my data, but we can recreate it. Hopefully it'll be my cutoff somewhere. So somewhere, not the bookings, but the environments. Okay, we'll create staging. Oh, what happened there? It says it's running. Are they just too quick? Yes, I was just too quick. Okay. So that exists, and then we can say curl minus s, that, and we'll get bookings back, we'll get environments back. Okay, so that now exists. So if we now try and create a booking, let's try without the environments first. So the old route, which I think should not work. You get 405. It's interesting. Oh, because that's a, okay, that route still exists for get. But I can't post to there. So I now go environments. environments. 0, I think, was the idea it was used, and bookings. And that works. Interesting that it's sent. No, it hasn't sent the env ID. Sorry, it just sent the booking ID. Okay, cool. So that seemed to work. And then if I try and create a booking against environment that doesn't exist, so if I try and create it against 1, I get a 404, and an error message says environment with ID 1 not found. It's going to look for glass. Look. Okay. Okay. So, we're going to next. So now that we have that, we now want to link the environment, the booking to the environment. We're getting close to the point we have to tidy this up a little bit. So booking ID, booking from, and the other thing I want to put in place is environment. Environment ID. And that, oh, it's not what environment ID is, it's going to be booking. So I might just call it booking env ID because it's getting ridiculously long. Booking environment ID is maybe an ID. So when we're creating it, we can do nothing. Do you know what? I might put these wrong just to make it easier to write. It's going to be nothing and then nothing again. And then that. Okay. So we now have space to store it. And then if we go down to creating the booking, we can say, we're overriding the booking ID here, and we can say that the booking env ID is just the env ID. So say if I restart it, create the environment, and then create the booking, I should be able to see the booking. Then you can say JQ instead of JQ dot. Yeah, I think it just implicitly does that. And it saves me so much typing, it's like a whole character. Right. So let's stop this, start it again. I might wait for it to start this time before trying to contact it. Okay, so here I'm going to create the staging environment. Then I'm going to try and create a booking against it. And here you see the booking env ID is that, which is great. And if I just get the booking back, I think it's bookings 1 or booking 0 in this case. Booking, no. Oh, can I list them? I haven't got anything to. What am I doing? Why do I keep posting to it? Bookings, I've only got the listing endpoint. Okay, cool. But I can see that the booking env ID is in here. I'm going to get the environments back. I won't see the bookings yet because I need to add that. So let's add that now. I'm just a little bit lazy, so when I start this up, I might just create a new environment inside it. So that staging always exists. So it's environment and its arguments are just 0. And then some more. Sorry, no comment there, just 0, and then name is staging. Is that good enough? Oh, that's right, the ID is a string, so it could be UUID. Okay, so when I restart the server, I should now see at least one environment. I'll just quickly check that's working. when it comes back up, I'll confirm that JQ dot is the same as just JQ. That's JQ and that's JQ dot. Yeah, exactly the same thing. Cool. So I don't need to recreate the environment each time. Okay, now, so when I'm getting back an environment, I'll look for a single environment. So we find it. If we've got it, we just can return it. Well, that's not quite what I want to do. So what I want to do here is actually, let's write a method to do this for me. So we can say end with bookings. We're going to take an environment. And, ooh, we need to get from the database, so we might as well grab appm. Then I've got access to the reader, so I can go and ask for the database again. And we are going to return, what are we going to return here? Environment with booking. So what I'm thinking of doing is returning a new record, which has got the information of an environment, but it's also got a list of bookings inside it. And that's going to be interesting. It's where my API design is not great, so everything's sitting at the top level, which makes it harder to put stuff or to reuse it in another structure. Let's see. So end with bookings is given an E and say something like db bookings equals P, and we'll grab that from the reader. So we got our bookings, and then we want to say I'm just going to return P for now, except that won't work either. Right, we have our environment. I'm going to say data environment booking is constructor to be environment booking, and we're going to give it, well, I'd really like to do sort of extend the current environment, but I don't think that's possible, so I can just say end with booking. That's horrible, end. I don't want to key call that. I'm going to copy the fields for now. This doesn't need to be, maybe it can just be literally an ID. The name will still be a string, and bookings, bookings will be list of booking. Can't give it the same name, obviously, because it's already used an environment. I'll work out what to do with this in a minute. It's not great. Driving. And it just, I think all I need is generic in here. And then I want an instance to JSON on it. Something like that. Okay, so multiple declaration of bookings. That's not really great. How about that? Okay. So what I can now do, I think, is that's wrong. What we got here? Okay, so we have our booking, and we've been given our environment. So what we want to do is we want to find the relevant bookings, and then we want to turn a new environment with booking. And it's going to take the m by d from the environment, and it's going to take the m name the environment. I think I just called that name. And it's going to take, let's give it an empty list at the minute. What did I call this thing? I did call it m by d. Environment booking is and then n by d. So why does it not like that? Ah, because this is a maybe. Okay, so I can say from maybe. No, I don't want that. I just want maybe that. No, maybe I don't want from maybe. Okay. So this thing needs to be the bookings. So we can call this m bookings. Is that already used? I have a feeling I did use that already. I'll call it B's. Okay, so this is going to be find. We'll let that. And what we're going to do, we'll be given a booking, and we want to say b dot m by d, booking in by ID. Is equal to e dot n by d. And then we need to give it a list, so this is bookings. So it's not bookings, it's reading from the tvar. And tvar of p, they're not m's. This is all bookings. And we're going to search in all bookings. Okay, so some stuff's gone wrong here. Couldn't match actual type environment with booking. And second argument equals equals. What language am I writing in? I've been doing this all day, but the other way around. So I've been writing Haskell code in work. I'm supposed to write in Go, and obviously I switched my brain back, so now I'm writing Go code when I'm supposed to be writing Haskell. Okay, here's brackets. Okay, so we're going to grab the booking MID out of the booking and the MID out of the environment. So we got our list of B's, and then in theory, trend them here. Couldn't match. That was that. Okay, actually don't mean find, I mean filter. Okay, is that going to work? Let's find out. We'll stop that. We'll run a new server. Okay, then we'll come here and what will we do? Just make sure the environment exists, and then I'm going to try posting to it. And we'll post a couple. Let's do one that starts at 21. Let me get the environments back. I don't think it's on there, but I go environments 0. It's also not on there. I haven't told Servant that I'm returning the new thing. So up here in the root somewhere, I'm going to start splitting this out soon. It's getting a bit long. Here I've told it I'm returning an environment. Yeah, so root's helper and I'm not using it. So if we get a single thing, we're going to call environment booking, and then this should be broken. It should be environment with booking. Okay, so do this. This all happens under the app environment because we need access to the reader. So we'll see, say, E is that. No, we already have E. And then we can say return E prime. Fine, redundant, blah. Why not just inline it? Okay, yeah. Oh, I see, I don't need to call pure on it or return because it's already under the same monad. So I don't need to lift it back into app-m at the end. Cool. Okay, and then there are no errors, so we'll try that again. So the type stuff is quite good for steering me through getting returning the right things from the API, but it's not stopping me from writing the wrong API in the first place. Okay, get a single environment back. You can see it has no bookings. We'll post a booking to it. Oops, sorry, we'll grab the single environment, and now you can see the booking in there, which is kind of cool. I might create another one. Is this one done? So this is at 12 o'clock. And get it again. Oh, that did not work. Okay. Posts were inferred. Okay, I can draw that out. And this said method not allowed because I posted the wrong URL. So I actually want to post it to environment 0 bookings, and we'll drop the X post off because it can infer it because it's very clever. Okay, we now have 2 bookings, 0 and 1. Or I can sort them, doesn't really matter. I'm going to see if I can sort them because I think it might be quick. Say sort by. No code actions available. You're not going to offer to import it? Oh no, because it's already in scope. Okay. Applies to a few arguments. So we're going to say, what's the field to get this? Is it like env ID or something? Yeah, it's not env ID though. It's this list of bookings, so it should be booking ID. Because it returns a maybe. Oh wow. So can we say, what's the maybe function do? It turns it into maybe, so we could say maybe like from maybe. That. Oh God. Is this getting worse? What am I doing? Just trying to avoid writing a really simple function. Booking B, and then it's from maybe empty string that. Can I actually expect to type maybe booking to ordering, but actual type booking to maybe ID? It's applied to too few arguments. I don't think it's applied to too few arguments, but I don't know what this is. That's what I tried to do before. I didn't like it. So let's go through this again. Sorry. So booking has got booking ID, which is maybe ID. Sort by. Oh, we have two arguments. Right. Okay. Oops. We've got B and B prime. So we could maybe compare these two things. It's getting really long, isn't it? Sorted B's is sort by. What other sorts do we have? We've got sort and sort by. Sort on. What's that do? Okay, so it takes a list of A's, which in this case is my B's, and it takes this. I think this is where I want. This is maybe the thing I wanted. So this is where we say from maybe that, and then booking ID. Saying I couldn't match type. Maybe booking ID with actual type, booking to maybe ID. Yeah, so I don't want to apply it now. What we're going to do is join those two things together, and then hopefully it will work. So we can then replace that with sorted B's. Okay, this code's getting very messy. I'm just trying to quickly add things to it, but it's just obviously making it longer. I'm not structuring it in any kind of nice way at all. But I'm going to just keep plowing on through it. Okay, it's compiling. So now if I get that back, there's nothing in it, and then I can post a couple of bookings to it. I'll post 22 as well. Then we'll get this back. And look at that, it's now sorted. Isn't that amazing? Okay, I feel like I want to abstract some of this database stuff out, but it's maybe not worth doing because what I should really be doing is replacing it with a database. Although maybe actually what I should be doing is replacing it with some kind of data access layer that doesn't care whether it's a database or this in-memory TVAR stuff. You know, I could maybe create an interface which says I can get bookings, I can get environments, I can get the join, and it will, I can then, use that type class. I said interface before, but I can create type class, I can use that type, I can implement that type class on top of the TVARs. I could do that. I don't know if it's worth doing or not. What else could we do? I mean, the other thing to do is to work out whether or not something is booked, but it feels like that's going to get even messier. So, okay, let's go down the database route. So I'm going to create, I think I'm going to create this type class. I'll start off by just abstracting the database to try and make a nicer interface to it. And it should give me an idea of what I'd like my interface to be for a proper database, and then I can extract the type class from that rather than going the other way around and trying to guess what the type class should be and getting it wrong. Okay, so no, open file, no, where's my new file? Create new file, Control Alt Windows N. Really? No, that's not what I want. Advanced new file. Have I not got advanced new file? What's going on here? None of my key bindings working. That's not working. Why is that not working? This dance taking over all my keyboard shortcuts again. X in this case. Is it Shift X? Is it my fault? There you go, I was blaming Dance, and actually it was me all along. Just because one time there's a new release of Dance and it undid all my customizations of the key bindings, and now I blame it forevermore for any problems I have with key bindings. It's not cool. I should learn to trust it. Right. Advanced open file is no longer a thing. VS Code advanced open file. I thought I did. Let's try that. Okay, do I now have it? Advanced open file from Active Directory. Yep. There's no key binding for that. I'm just going to quickly do that. So advanced open file from current directory, key binding will be that. Okay. Yay, all of that. So I can create a new file called db. .hs. I should have called it DAO or something to make me look really clever. But I'm not going to do that. Okay. So some of this database stuff, things like the definition environment and these types I'm going to pull out. I probably shouldn't include the JSON encoding of the objects. But for now, let's put them in here and then we'll work out what to do with them. I need to import this. Okay, and we have type ID is a string for now. Okay, this instance stuff, you know, I'll just grab JSON for now. And UTC time, where did that come from? Data.time. Generic is a language extension. And I need overloaded strings as well. I don't know why that's not the default. Okay, so that's my data, and then I can write some methods to help find it, and to load it and to join stuff together. Maybe we should think about how to structure the returns as well, because I wonder if I could sort of wrap this environment up somehow. I also wonder if I should separate these types out from the database, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So I'm going to create a new file here actually called encoding. I'm going to move the to JSON stuff into here. So we can say, oh, is that a helper? Thank you. It's very nice, isn't it? I'm going to import DB. Qualified DB as DB. Why not import qualified DB? Because I didn't know I could do that. That's why not. Okay, I'm going to grab some of this stuff. Then I'm going to grab this stuff. So this is now going to be db.environment, so I'll need to actually export that. I'm going to delete from here. So what are we going to export? We're going to export. I'll just export everything about environment and everything about booking and everything about environment with booking. Okay, so here we can say db.environment, and then everywhere I'm going to have to say import prelude. Okay, this doesn't work, so I need to overload strings. No, this does work actually. Or at least it compiles. I mean, it's the same thing as working, right? So I could also do this. Oops, db.that. We'll delete from here. We'll grab the booking stuff as well. Oh, delete that. See. And we'll stick it here. This will be db.that. Oops. db.that. And db.that. Okay, I don't think it's going to be DB. That might be a mistake. So I'm going to create a new thing called DAO. Actually, I'm going to create a thing called DAO. So these are data access objects. DAO, and we're going to export some stuff. So these are all the types of things, basically. We will import ReLUde, and we'll grab drive generic, and we'll grab UTC time. Okay, and here where we exported all this stuff, I'm going to export it from oh, the whole thing for me? Yeah. I'm going to export from here instead. Okay, go back to my encoding. I'm actually going to import it from DAO. DAO. Okay, and then go back to DB. Take that out. Okay, so don't think we need these anymore. I don't think we need these anymore. We say import qualified DAO. Okay. So I'm thinking is I can just write the database here, and then I can write all the methods to do the finding on that. I might also write something which does the tvar, this is the STM style controlling access to it. So we could export some things like, like update environment. And it would need to be running on, we need access to the we need access to anything. It only needs to be under IO, I think. But we'll find out. Okay. First thing to do, I guess, is fix main, because it'll be horribly broken by now. In particular, I think I can get rid of these. I think I can get rid of these. And then I'm just going to do all of this. All of the DB stuff. And then what I think I'll do is say, let's just import DB and import DAO for now. Might import encodings as well to find out, and the errors we've got. We do need the JSON because we're going to use it. Those encodings. Okay. Next error. No instance of JSON to JSON environment. Okay. So I think that's because I need to import the encoding as well. Yeah, no errors left. Okay, does it still work? Ooh. I think I'm going to go and fix that. And fix that if we go any further. Maintenance that. I think it's here I see other modules. And then it's going to be DAO. DB encoding. Suffix compilation. Does, and can I still get, oops, stuff back? I can, cool. Okay, so the server's still running. So one thing I can do, I guess, is, oops, at the end of the file, we're creating this initial stuff. We could just have an initial DB. I think, yeah, so I can basically move this stuff out. It's not a huge refactor, but it's a good start, I think. And say initial DB, and this is going to run under IO, I think. It's going to return a DB. Initial DB is this stuff. And then we can just say pure DB, and then these things, initial envs, initial env index, initial bookings, and initial booking index. Okay, and get environment, that'll be there as DAO. Okay, it's back in main. We can ditch this and all of this and just replace it with db.initialDBs, but I probably need to export it for that. So let's try actually exporting that. Have we done that? That is true now. Really, DB is not underscore O because previously I wasn't controlling what was exported. So we'll export DB as well for now. My plan is to stop doing that. No, let's do that. Okay, we still have an error somewhere. Ah, yes. Okay, so so this is going to be db.initialDB. No errors. Okay, that loads every time. And then we still have our initial database. Okay, so can we start to make this a bit better? So looking at where to start. So I'm looking for a method that does something databasey that I can sort of move into the database module. So create is a bit long. Let's do something simple like list bookings. So I'm hoping here we can say list bookings, and that's going to go from a database to an IO list of bookings. So list bookings. Oops. So let's just be able to copy this, but we're basically going to. Oh, it's just lift IO read var, read T var that. Don't need to do block even. Oh no, we need to get the right bit out of the. Sorry, I do need this. I need to get the right bit out of the database. So I could destructure here, I think. Bookings equals table. Table. Do I need to do? Things I do. I've got a single thing now. I'm going to do this and lift it into IO. We're under IO, so we don't need to lift it into itself. So there we go. We just destructure it and then read from it. It's not going to work. Let's find out. So we'll export that. List bookings. So we need db.listbookings. db.listbookings db. Okay, so we got a name clash. I need to sort that out. And then I have a. How is it going to get the database? It's part of appm, isn't it? I think. So I could just ask for it. So it might be something like db is ask, and then that. Oh, I'll take the hit now. How many errors? 16 errors. I will take the hit. Qualified DB. So my plan is eventually to get rid of this import DB by slowly moving stuff into the DB package and calling it directly. But I'm going to do it slowly. So as I move methods into there, I'll just hide them, and then eventually, hopefully, it'll be fully qualified. The lift IO is because it's happened under IO, and this list bookings is running under appm, which does provide monad.io. Where's my definition of appm? Does it? Friday. I think it does. Oh, because it's probably part of handler, actually. Yeah. So let's see if that works. Rounds back, but that's pretty boring because it's actually the booking that I want. So I, oops, get back a list of all the bookings. That should still work. Cool, it still works. So hasn't really made much of a difference, but it started the process, I think, of moving stuff into this database thing. So to create a new environment, yeah, I think I'll do create environment, and then I'll call it a night. What are we going to get back? So we could say that e prime is going to be equal to call this create environment, or db.create environment. And we'll pass in to db. So this will be responsible for grabbing the db, and we'll pass it in here. That's my plan. So all of this stuff will move into this will move into the database module, and then I should just be able to, well, basically return. I don't need to store this in a variable. I can just return what comes back from here. That's the plan. Okay. So let's quickly go to db. So this was create environment, and that's going to go db DAO.environment. And it's going to return a modified DAO.environment. Did that just magically do it for me, or was it telling me I should do it? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Cyclic depends between db and main. Why is it importing qualified things? Oh, because it's, I meant to say that. It's the typo. But then it's always an import main for me, which is a bit strange. Create environment. So we got a db. And our environment. What stuff I copied previously I've just lost. Paste that in there. Okay. So what are we going to do? So we're going to say this is our table and this is our counter. We're not going to ask for it, but we're going to say we can just destructure it actually in the method signature. Let's go there. Okay. So we read this from the counter. This does indeed come from DAO. what's it say about now? User table. I can't remember where Q came from. Oh, that was the index, okay. So this is my only problem now. Couldn't match expected type. Oh, lovely, isn't it? It's complaining the first line here, but it's basically because I'm not returning E. It's not that at all. Well, that would be the problem. Oh, so there's some stuff that's a bit different here. So we don't need to lift IOs because we're under IO. That should help. We should need to return E, so I should need to say pure E prime down here. It's just this counter's problem. Couldn't much expect to type data environment with actual type M0 data environment, so that's because I haven't got IO. Okay. Bit of a confusing error message, but it's kind of correct because it's saying I have the environment. I should have M0. It didn't really tell me what M0 was. But at least it's hinting at there's some mode that I'm missing here. Okay, cool. So can we now do this? So we will now export this as well. Environment. Back to main. We will hide it as we import. Okay, and then we go back to create environment. We get our DB, and then I think we can just return this. We need to lift it down. Okay, so these methods are getting a bit shorter. It's just moving some stuff around, but it's maybe just concentrating on being a handler here. And the actual interacting with the database, we're putting somewhere else. Okay, probably should check it still works. So we compile it, and then I'll list the environments and then create a new one and list again. Okay, so we've got single which is staging. Somewhere in my history I should have the environment creation. Yep. Can remove post X or it gets upset with me. It's not necessary. That's weird. It's not that weird. Okay, I fucked up a little bit, not with the change I just made, but previously. So I did one which is like test. That works. So when I create an initial environment, I put something in there, but I didn't increment the counter. So I'm just going to do that quickly before I forget. It's just basically that. Because the first one is ID 0, so we'll make the next available index 1. Okay. Is it worth compiling that? Just check that was the fix. I could do with writing some automated tests as well. Might load that up for next week. Okay, it's running. I get the environments back. There is one. I'm going to create a test. It's got the correct ID, which is ID 1 this time. And there we go. They come back not sorted. Oh, you know, I'm going to sort them because I think it should be quick now. Oh no, sorry, the environments are not coming from here, so I'm not going to do it yet. I'll do it next week when I move stuff around. Cool. So, yeah, so I did the nested resource thing. So bookings are now linked to environments, which is cool. And I then started to tidy up this really big main that I had and move stuff into DAO for structuring the data, I guess. Moved encodings out into their own file. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I've just moved them out of the way for now. And then I started to write this abstraction of the database. It's not even an abstraction, I guess it's a concrete implementation, but to move it out of main and into a module of its own, so I can identify the functions I need to manipulate the data, and then hopefully I can make that abstract in future by writing a type class, and then we can implement it either with in-memory or with an actual database. Cool, so next week I'm going to pick up, I'll keep doing this refactoring, I think, and yeah, we'll see where we get to. There's lots of things to do. I like to play with bookings as well to see when things are actually booked. But yeah, that was cool. Went quite well. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully see you next week. Bye.